Race 1 for the Touring Car Cup here at the FIA Motorsport Games, set to get underway. The grid is formed based on the time set in the first qualifying session, but with a couple of shuffles to the grid, because one or two drivers have had engine changes, and a legacy of that is that you have to start your next race from the back of the grid. And so Luca Engschler, who set the fastest time in qualifying, is one of those who goes from first to last. Also Jim Cato, who had an engine change after free practice yesterday, he too will start on the last row of the grid. So Klim Gavrilov is promoted to pole position. This race, 25 minutes plus a lap, and it is Russia and Slovakia on the front row of the grid, and it's David Addison and John Watson trackside. The way that the Touring Car Cup works is you score points, different scores per race, but you score points in the two races and add them together. That's how you determine the medalists at the end of tomorrow.
An interesting way of doing it, 25 minutes plus a lap, 30 minutes plus a lap. Obviously, that's too logical for me to work out.
But it's how it's being done,
yep,
rather than a set number of laps. There's the British entry, Rory Butcher, race winner in the British Touring Car Championship, which of course runs to a different type of regulation. All of these cars are to TCR regs, which is a touring car category that has had global success. It's effectively another world championship too, and there is somebody from WTCR, Tom Coronel, representing the Netherlands. He will line up fourth on the grid. Rory Butcher, you've just seen, starting third. Now, Tom Coronel, with decades of experience, should be a front runner in this, and his Honda lining up fourth on the grid.
It'll be an interesting start. We've got finally quite a nice afternoon here at Vallelunga. The sun is out in patches, the track is dry, and there are the odd wet patch, but nothing on the racing line. We saw a cracking Formula 4 race about 20 minutes ago, and hopefully if we can get a repeat of that, we will see an excellent Touring Car Cup round. 25 minutes plus one lap. Gilles Magnus again starred on the third row of the grid in his Belgian Audi.
Congratulations.
Now the real question is whether or not the Engschler team for Germany have been able to get the new engine into Luca Engschler's car. I've just been sent a photograph taken a couple of minutes ago of him sitting on packing crates waiting for the job to be done. So we can't yet, of course, see the back of the grid, but it's debatable as to whether Engschler is on the grid, whether he's going to be able to start at all, and if he can start, it may have to be from the pit lane.
I mean, they've had enough time, in my view, to manage to take one engine out and put another one in, but it's not maybe quite so easy in the field. Maybe there were other issues that needed to be attended to in the process, so that'll be a huge disappointment for Germany and for Luca Engschler to not make it onto maybe a dutiful position on the grid as we look at the Hungary entry. Now, is this the Veloce? No, I get confused with Veloce. I know what Veloce used to mean. It used to mean two twin-choke Weber carburetors back in the days when Alfa Romeos were winning races in European Touring Car Championship, for example.
The Veloce tag is given to the Evo car, effectively, so that was the original Giulietta of Norbert Kish. The Veloce in the hands of Norway's Christian Seithelund is further back on the grid. That's another of the Audi S3s. For it is Enrico Betterer, and we are about 7 minutes away from the formation that getting underway. But the further back on the grid we go, we're going to see whether that gap is there. Lining up 11th is New Zealand's Faina Kahia, who is parts assistant for Giltrap Audi in New Zealand. Colin Giltrap, who has been a big supporter, big friend, big promoter of motorsport in New Zealand. And Kahia doing a really good job, especially when we saw these drivers out again in the second qualifying session. More seat time, drier road. He looked good, and so did this driver too. Jessica Backman, representing Sweden.
Well, now that we've got a fully dry racetrack, the playing field has been leveled. It was a little bit mix and match initially when the cars went out onto the circuit. Then when they had their first proper run in drier conditions, we saw the true pace. And certainly at one point, I thought Jessica Backman, she was doing a really strong job. Indeed, at one point she in fact ended up second quickest overall, and then in the closing minutes the times then just cascaded down and ended up ultimately with Russia, Kim Garilov in pole position, and Slovakia alongside Hormola.
Mason Filippi, you see. Now, Spain missing from the grid. That was a car that in Q2 developed a problem. The Peugeot of Gonzalo de Andres, it stopped, didn't it?
Yeah.
Trackside caused a red flag. So Spain missing from the grid. There for Lithuania is Julius Adamovicius in the Volkswagen Golf. And that is, I think I'm right in saying, the only Volkswagen on the grid. Lots of Audis, but it's the only VW Golf. Another of the MGs, the second MG, is for the Chinese representative, Zhendong Zhang. And he will line up on the outside of row 8. It's a one-by-one staggered grid for the single-seater and touring car races. Rolling start, of course, for GT. There is the Giulietta Veloce for Norway of Christian Seideren. So the Norwegian driver is good to go. Seideren, who has been racing in the Citroën DS3 Cups in Sweden and Denmark this year, the newer spec car. Next on the grid is Q8's Salem Al-Musif, who's just seen his brother Mohammed in the F4 races, and now the former radical racer, good to go himself in this Audi with the sequential gearbox. Some of the cars have got DSG boxes, others have a sequential box for Hong Kong. Engine change done, Jim car tow, and it looks as though there's a gap, isn't there, where Engstler should be. So two drivers, one who was fastest in qualifying, missing from the grid, and that's a real disappointment for Luca Engstler, because that engine went bang pretty early in Q1, even though he'd done the best time. And there's the confirmation, no Germany, even though the car is being worked on. Can it get in from the pit lane? And bearing in mind, the race is delayed anyway, so this should be helping them a bit.
Yeah, but if they were that far behind, the time gained in the delay probably wasn't going to make a huge amount of difference. All they can hope for is just get that car into the pit lane once this race gets underway, make a pit lane start, and just do the best you can. The pace that he had in practice certainly was impressive. In qualifying, 156.941, put him just under 0.2 of a second ahead of Garolov. But on the now, you see, looking at the Russia car on the right of the racetrack, so no indication for the Hyundai from Eschler anywhere in the pit lane, and time running away.
So race one for the touring cars. You've got to be in it to score. You've got to score in order to have a chance of a medal in tomorrow's race. 25 points go to the winner. Top 10 will score in all of this. And the teams are ready. The formation lap is about 3.5 minutes away. The safety car goes to its position, which is there out of turn 13, should it be required. And huge disappointment for Luca Engstler if he can't get into the race. So what that does give us now is this fight between Gavrilov and Homola on the front row of the grid. Still an overcast day. It's not exactly cold out there, but we've had more spots of rain falling this morning, and the track has never really become totally dry. It's been pretty close to it.
Yeah, I think now the temperature's over sort of the 20 Celsius threshold. Track conditions ought to be just about ideal. I mean, they couldn't want for a better track condition from what I can see looking down the starting grid. You're looking at just the exit of 14 that does still appear to be. Sometimes you get a sort of high water table at racetracks, and you get a bit of seepage upwards, and that can take a little bit longer to dry. But fundamentally, I think the racetrack's in pretty good condition.
Well, there's the front of the grid then. Russia and Slovakia ahead of Great Britain and the Netherlands. So 25 minutes plus a lap. There's a bit of time in that to do a bit of thinking. It's not necessarily going to be one at the first corner, but equally Gavrilov, who looked really quick out of the blocks when we got to the second qualifying session, is going to be a driver eager to try to build that gap early on in the race and then look after those tyres to the end of it. His main opposition from qualifying times then missing from the back of the grid, and can Homola, can Butcher, can Coronel, Slovakia, Britain, Netherlands do anything about the pole sitting car? The grid is being cleared then. The pole position grid board leaves, so the grid is now clear. We are a minute and a half away from that formation lap getting underway. For the fans, it is free admission to Vallelunga. You can download a ticket from the event's website. In you come, and the fans packing the grandstands, busy trackside as well. They've been treated to a really good single-seater race to get the activity underway. There is a GT race to come, and then there's also drifting at the end of the day. Plus, elsewhere within the facility, there is the Digital Cup and Karting Slalom, busy taking place all through the weekend as well. So then, the 1 minute board is shown, engines fire up, the grid cleared, still no sign of Spain nor Germany in the pit lane. So Russia now in the box seat as we get set for the first Touring Car Cup race of the weekend here in this very first FIA Motorsport Games.
And if it ever was important to consolidate your pole position, albeit one that you inherited rather than you actually earned, on this out lap, standard thing, get the tires up to temperature. Get the brakes up to temperature, because when the lights go out, you want to make sure that what you've got underneath you is a car that's going to deliver when you get down into turn 4. That's going to be the first big braking, and that's the point where the concertina of the field around you will be squabbling to try and find a way over you, around you, or underneath you, even in some cases.
Now, another man to watch is going to be Belgium's Gilles Magnus, who starts 6th on the grid because he ended up topping Q2. The grid now is cleared, and when the race director is happy, the sign can be given to release the cars. There is the green flag.
Oh,
and rather for Russia.
Stalled.
If everybody goes past you, you're going to have to start at the back. Not everybody gets ahead of him.
Well, we saw in the Formula 4 race, third row of the grid stalled, but made his way back up onto the grid, albeit that 3 cars further back didn't move as so. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that should judge. I would have assumed that the pole position car, Gavrilov, will actually be able to make his way back into his pole position.
So here is the Russian car then, weaving its way down towards turn 4. Gavrilov has put himself, as he's entitled to do, at the front of the queue. It's only if the last car on the grid goes past you that you can't take up your position. But, well, so we thought, but yet what we saw in the F4 race contradicted all of that.
It did indeed.
Different race director. Here's the grid, just quickly to run through it again. Klim Gavrilov on pole position with Mato Homula for Slovakia to line up alongside him. Row 2 of the grid, Great Britain. Rory Butcher in the MG alongside the Honda for the Netherlands of Tom Coronel. Then you've got on the 3rd row, France, John Philippi with the Seat, and another of the Audi, Gilles Magnus for Belgium, lining up alongside. Row 4 is the Czech Republic's Dusan Kuril, and alongside him is Latvia's Valters Zviedris, with Hungary next on the grid for Norbert Kish, and Italy's Enrico Betterer rounding out the top 10 on the grid. The 6th row, New Zealand and Sweden. Fine car here for New Zealand in his Audi, lining up alongside Sweden's Jessica Backman. 7th row is where we start to find gaps, because the USA is there, Mason Filippi, but missing Spain's Gonzalo de Ambrose after the problems that hit his Peugeot in Q2. Row 8, Lithuania alongside China, Julius Adamovicius and Zhendong Zhang. Row 9 on the grid is going to be Norway and Q8, so Christian Seithen and Salam Al-Nusif, with the back row, Jim Kato. And it should have been alongside Hong Kong, Germany, but Luca Engschler missing from the grid. The team's still toiling away, but Engschler last, it says on the graphic. No argument about that. He is going to be last on the grid, but unlikely to be in the race, unfortunately, given the work still going on, unless suddenly they can get the car fired up and get into the end of the pit lane. But you've got to say, it's looking pretty bleak.
Yeah, field pretty stretched out, coming through the penultimate corner. The rest of the field still making its way down into turn 10. Hopefully when they get on the grid, not too long a wait before the lights will come on, and then this 25-minute race plus 1 lap will get underway. Hopefully everybody will have gotten a sufficient amount of tire temperature and brake temperature, because once they get down into turn 4, that's the first point on this lap. There will be a major break, and if your tire temperature or your brake temperature isn't operational, there will be lockups, there'll be misjudgments, and it could be, hopefully it won't be, a bit of a mess into turn 4.
Well, we have had a really good start to the race action, courtesy of the Formula 4 cars. What can the Touring Car Cup do? As you ride on board with Tom Coronel, he slots into position, squeaky brake and all, on the grid. He will start 4th then. As I said, it's a 1-by-1 staggered grid. You've got the Russian car, the Audi RS3 LMS bracket SEQ, meaning it's got a sequential gearbox rather than a DSG box, lining up for pole. That is another of the onboard views from Sweden, Jessica Backman, the driver behind the wheel. And so now everybody concentrates on that lighting gantry. The green flag at the back is going to be shown once the last car of Jim Kato rather than Luca Engschler is in place. So we started with 20. Sadly, we've only got 18 for race 1 in the FIA Motorsport Games Touring Car Cup, which is go. Bad start by Rory Butcher, but he does get away. Not a great start by Coronel either, and they're both jumped by John Philippi as they run down towards turn 1. Rory Butcher losing places then as the cars go to turn 2 now into the Curva Grande. It is Russia ahead of Slovakia. Klim Gavrilov leads with Mato Homola in second place as they get down towards turn 4 for the first time. France third. John Philippi jumps ahead of the Netherlands, Tom Coronel.
Front row has done what it needed to do, get into turn 4 cleanly, all behind, just stretching one, running wide, just coming through the first part of turn 4 into turn 5, up the hill. Everybody's gotten on.
So far so good, isn't it, as they climb the hill. Russia leads the way then. Slovakia second, France third, Netherlands fourth. They get to the braking zone here. It is Belgium in 5th, and then 6th, look, is Latvia up on the inside line of the car from the Czech Republic as they wriggle their way up towards us at turn 8 for the first time. So Gavrilov it is in the Audi, the Russian car leading, but right there behind him is Homola for Slovakia. The two of them tied together as they turn out of turn 8 with Lithuania there, forced out wide, and drama for Al Nusif. It wasn't a good start to the day in F4 for Q8, and broken suspension by the look of it in the Touring Car Cup for Q8. That's going to be in the pit lane.
Yeah, his left rear corner been damaged, but certainly the VW runs wide, so Lithuania getting a bumpy ride into the gravel.
Thankfully out the other side though.
Yes, yeah, but I mean, last time and effectively now we're running last. First two, more or less, holding station, but Karolov has got that clear air. As Tom Coronel looks to make a move up the inside, and can he get up the inside? He was always good on the exit of the corner. Will he be any good in the first part of the corner?
That should give him third, coming off turn 14. Roma up towards the timing line, but straight back on the offensive. Look, is John Philippi. This is for third as they go side by side. Coronel was ahead. Look at Gilles Magnus closing in 5th. The Belgian car. France goes third. Jean Philippi goes through on the inside line. Coronel through the Curva Grande tries to fight back, but he's down in 4th. The Netherlands all over the back of France. Which way does the Netherlands go? Nowhere is the answer, because Belgium goes right round the outside. He's just ahead. Gilles Magnus goes ahead. Look at this. Leans on Coronel, but Tom gets out his elbows. Belgium to the inside line. Great racing.
Very good. Clean racing. Both. I mean, there couldn't have been any tighter coming up the hill through turn 6 up into the hairpin at turn 7. Coronel on the inside has the advantage, but of course his exit speed may be slightly compromised as we watch the Magnus Belgium. So, wow, safety car.
Safety car deployed then, so drama's on that first lap. Safety car is deployed. Through turn 8 they come, and everybody now is going to slow right down. All of this will count within the 25 minutes plus that regulation lap. Rory Butcher, after that slow start, down in 12th place. Now we need to see who it is that's caused the safety car incident, don't we? Because the race is being neutralised, but we haven't yet seen why.
Well, we saw one of the cars had a broken rear suspension. One would have assumed that it made it back. It looked like it occurred in that middle sector. So there is the safety car waiting now to pick up Karolov as he will come to go on to his, it'll be his 3rd lap. He's completed 1 flying lap. He's completing the 2nd lap now, yet to come across the start-finish line. Here's the replay of the start.
Have a look at Rory Butcher's start, because the car bogs down, gets away, but then struggled to get up pace. So more and more swarmed past him down towards turn 1. Different sort of car to get off the line compared to that he's used to, but a good getaway by Gavrilov, putting him into the lead of the race. This was Jessica Backman's view, down through that left-hander, Rory Butcher to the right.
Yeah, horrible feeling. You're in a reasonably good grid position, and all goes belly up, and you cannot get any momentum, whether that was just an anti-stall effect kicking in, and that's why the car was so lethargic getting off the line there. On board with Tom Coronel, and Felipe just swoops in front of him. These two have been battling over that 2nd lap, swapping position, not quite swapping paint.
So Coronel down a place, but then of course trying to gain that back in the fights. There is the answer to why the safety car is out. The Norwegian Alfa Romeo has parked so that people can admire it, and it's such a position that you can see almost every angle of it from wherever you're stood, so people can drool over the Giulietta. Very selfless that of Christian Seitherud to give up his race so people can admire the car. I think you'll agree.
With a name like Giulietta, it's a great shame it's out of the race.
It is. So that needs retrieving, so that people can drool over it in the paddock, and then we can get back underway. We are on then lap 3, and as I say, all of this counts. Now the start of car 25 is being investigated, which is Latvia's Valters Zviedris with his Audi S3. So it might have been that he was a little bit anticipatory of the start.
Yeah. Yeah, you rolled too soon, you anticipated Sometimes you anticipate it absolutely perfectly, other times it isn't the case. So that's under investigation as the field makes away again, trying to keep as much temperature in the tires, keep the brakes warm, because when you go back to race conditions, you want to make sure that, as usual, the same old story, don't get caught out. It's easily done. Rory Butcher, the big loser, clearly with that poor start, and I suspect it was something beyond his control that just almost, as I would call it, an anti-stall, kicked in, and the car, well, the anti-stall didn't kick in, and it virtually did stall, and he couldn't get momentum. It was on limp home mode momentarily.
Q8, not surprisingly, in the pits. We saw the car with damage. The field now turning its way up to turn 11 and waiting for the race to get back underway. But the race director interrupting proceedings to get that Alfa Romeo out of the way. Miroslav Bartos is the race director for the FIA Motorsport Games Touring Car Cup. And remember that this is more than just a qualifying race. You get points for being in the top 10 here. So the first one to miss out is America. Somebody that's had a really good first couple of laps, incidentally, Hong Kong's Jim Kato, because from last on the grid, I know that there was one gap ahead of him, but the former Formula Renault Asia champion, who made his world TCR debut at Suzuka last week, Jim Kato, already up into 12th place.
Yep, he's done well. Very good.
He jumped ahead of Rory Butcher, but Rory might be on the move again when we go back to green flag conditions.
Well, hopefully the MG is actually now performing as it didn't appear to do, moving off the grid. So had the pace certainly to be on the second row of the grid, probably would have been, it would have been genuinely bona fide the second row. There'd be Tom Coronel would have been the one that would have been on the third row of the grid, all benefiting from Luca Enschler's mechanical problems.
Another one that's dropped back is Norbert Kish in the earlier spec Alpha. There's Tom Coronel for the Netherlands in fourth place in the FK7 denominated Honda. Safety car staying out. He's trying, have a look at the recovery operation, see how it is going, as Coronel is your chauffeur, fourth at the moment. John Filippi just ahead of him, having started behind him on the grid. So Rory Butcher, unfortunately for the Brit, qualified third. He's down in 13th, out of the points. Much work to do when we get to the restart.
Tom Coronel taking it in a very relaxed manner. Not, oh, there's the Peugeot, or there's, I beg your pardon, Alfa Romeo. I know. There we are. It looks like the right front suspension is somewhat towing in, or got a load of positive front camber. Well, actually, it's negative front camber. So the top, that car's, something's clipped, or he's clipped something. So the car now is safely behind. It's going to have further damage the way it's being released by the recovery vehicle. So safety car in this lap.
Indeed, so they're coming at the moment out of turn 9. That is Trincia up towards Samaforo, which is turn 10. Because it's a good old school circuit, Vallelunga, the corners do have names. It's not purely sponsors like some circuits, or numbers at worst. But for the purposes of, inevitably, ease for the drivers, everything is given a number, and this is turn 11. But if you prefer, it is Tornantino. So now the pace quickens, and Klim Gavrilov it is, who accelerates away, looking a bit twitchy, but he's on his toes, trying to build a gap. We've still got 16.5 minutes plus the regulation lap to go.
So they're not racing yet. Certainly when they go across the line, they're not allowed to overtake until they cross the line. But you want to stick as close as you possibly can to the car directly in front of you, and that's really what Hamola has tried to do in the Hyundai behind the lead Audi coming across. So they go on to their 5th lap, completed 4 laps, of which 2 have been racing laps, 2 behind the safety car. Hamola looks as if he's targeting the back of the Audi. Hasn't got quite the position to move down the inside to try and make a move into turn 4.
A false start time penalty is being added to the car from Latvia. So Zvidra is given a 5-second time at the end of the race for a false start. Could have been out of position, therefore. So Gavrilov for Russia leads the way. Here they come, up towards now turn 7 into Campagnano, and the Russian Audi defending from the Slovakian car behind him, because right there behind, looking for a way behind the Hyundai, is Mato Hamola. Out of the right-hander they come, onto the power now. And as they sprint towards us, ignore the safety car graphic, that is certainly not required again. We are green flag all the way around the road as the cars now sprint their way down through turns 8 and 9. Latvia under attack from Sweden. Jessica Backman then looks for a way by, up through the gears, but loses out on the exit of the corner.
She didn't have position to take that position away, but she put herself in moderate danger because directly behind her she could have been challenged. So she was running a 9th place, Patera 10th for Italy in the Audi.
Lead battle is still on, isn't it? Because Gavrilov for Russia is not getting away. Right there behind him is the Slovakian driver, Mato Homola in the Hyundai. So Homola crawling all over the back. Where does he make his move? 8th in TCR Europe this year. He was a race winner. He also won in the World Touring Car Championship at Villarreal last season. They come out of turn 14 with game on for 3rd place as well. Actually, that's closer, that three-way fight.
Yeah, that battle for 3rd place is closer than the battle is for the lead. So in the last sector of this circuit, of this lap, Gavrilov has managed to pull a little bit more. He's got just under a full 2nd ahead of 2nd place, but it's the battle for 3rd place. Coronel and Felipe there, we're watching on board from Tom Coronel. And he might also be looking, thinking, well, would I take a risk go down? Well, I'm going to have to go down the outside and I'm going to be in the wrong part of the track. Maybe just try and make the undercut coming out of turn 5, but not sufficiently close. So Felipe has managed to consolidate, but he will be looking as much backwards now as he will be trying to make some progress up to 2nd.
And right up behind the Netherlands is Belgium. Tom Coronel under attack from Gilles Magnus. Coronel in the Boots and Chignon run car, frustrated in his efforts. He can't yet work away past France and then go after the top 2. However, he does need to bank good points here. Good exit out of the corner, heading up now to turn 8.
Yeah, Felipe marginally slower than Coronel, but of course he's got the track position. So he's going to do all he can to hold on to 3rd place. Coronel's got to think of a way I can get around that 3rd position car and not at the same time put myself into jeopardy, not get involved with that Hyundai, which is the car holding 3rd place.
So Coronel on the attack down at turn 11, and that's Gilles Magnus for Belgium up the inside. Do they lean on each other? It was close even if they didn't. Magnus is alongside Belgium versus the Netherlands. The Benelux battle is on, and on the inside for 12, but the outside for 13 is Belgium. There's trim hanging off the side and everything, but Coronel stands his ground. The Netherlands hangs on to position behind Belgium. Look, you've also got the Czech Republic and then New Zealand, and here is Belgium on the inside line, and they do touch. Coronel is sideways. Has that done damage? It certainly spits him out wide, but they're still side by side off the corner.
Cars squirming in.
Yeah, you're right.
That's just not straight. There's something broken in the rear of Tom Coronel's Honda, so whatever that is.
It's going to be a lively ride through the Curva Grande. Here he is. So Tom Coronel with suspension damage, hanging onto it, but it's just not, I'm afraid, behaving itself. And now he realises at full speed exactly the horror of this crab-like car.
He's got half a steering lock trying to keep the car straight coming down into turn 4. So that contact, rear suspension, probably a toe on the right rear, has been damaged. The car is now crabbing all the way down. He'll be back into the pit lane. His race complete. Aggressive fighting going on for that 3rd and 4th battle. Magnus forces his way down the inside into turn 11 and then consequently into 14 of further contact.
So right now it is Russia from Slovakia, 1.3 seconds between them. I wonder whether there's going to be anything looked at as far as Gilles Magnus is concerned in all of that. Coronel is still going, isn't he? I mean, he's not given up this. He's still limp. Well, it's not really a limp. It's still a fair, decent pace.
Coming down the straight into turn 4, he had half a lock on the steering to keep the car going straight. Whether he'll bother going into the pit lane or whether he'll consolidate and think, well, I've got 11 minutes plus a lap to go. I'm currently, what am I, in about 7th position. I can score points assuming the car will stay with me until the end.
If he's in the top 10, it's worth persevering, but I suspect as the race wears on with 11 minutes to go, he will have to give up the unequal struggle. But right now, Coronel doing his best to drive around the problem. So
he's doing a very good job driving around the problem.
It's outstanding, isn't it? I mean, it's not like he's out of the race. Pit in to the right.
No.
I'm carrying on, says Tom Coronel. Battles his way into Roma. Right, over the line goes Gavrilov. He leads the way. So, Russia, Slovakia, France, Belgium, Czech Republic with a cheeky flash of the lights, 5th. 6th now is New Zealand. And 7th is the Netherlands, despite the suspension damage.
Correct. And coming down this part of the racetrack, the steering wheel even half a lock on to keep the car running straight. Just at the point where he got underway after that collision. Here we look at it again. Down the inside, so Magnus forces his way through, contact on the left rear. Coronel stands his ground, body damage. Then coming, this is a view on board from Coronel. He felt the bang on the inside from the Audi, so he's worrying, what am I going to do now? Coming up in turn 13, 12 and 13, further down through the field. So Coronel defending from Sweden.
Yeah, the danger is now he's going to get dumped out of the points, at which juncture I would imagine he will bail from the race. But right now, he's persevering. Magnus lost another place to New Zealand, now to Sweden. So that is going to put the Netherlands down in 8th. Tom Coronel tries to fight back, though, coming out of the corner.
Why wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't he?
Now, battle's on for 3rd place. Gilles Magnus all over the back of John Philippi. So France versus Belgium. Magnus has been, say, aggressive necessarily, but forceful. He's having to go on the outside into turn 11. Can he get the undercut for the inside at turn 12? Tries to get the drive out of the corner. Not quite. Thought about it, and then slots back in behind.
Well, Philippi, for me, was always the kind of vulnerable one in that leading group. Had Coronel all behind him until this charging Gilles Magnus and tried to force his way. In fact, didn't force his way through.
Coronel breaks hard into turn 14. Now look at the lead gap. That really has shot up. It was 1.7 seconds a lap ago, and now Russia clear by 2.5. So Russia to Slovakia, the gap is widening all the time. Over the line comes Coronel. He's back ahead of Sweden. So despite losing the place, he has come back. He has regained the place despite the damage. You can't keep a good man down, can you?
No, and a good woman's gone past Tom Coronel as well.
Great fight between the two of them. Over the line they go.
So Tom Coronel been really struggling with a car that by rights probably should be in the pit lane, but judging at 8 minutes and 50-odd seconds plus 1 lap to go, if I can hang in and get a point or get a couple of points, whatever it is, it's better as long as the car isn't in a dangerous state. He appears to have managed to adapt to the car, whatever way it's handling. It can't be a pleasant drive.
No, I'll go along with that. So now he comes down towards turn 4 as up towards turn 8 comes the race leaders. So Gavrilov for Russia getting away on that last lap to the tune of 2.5 seconds. Here is France versus Belgium. This is for 3rd, and Gilles Magnus tries to get a good run out of turn 8. Trim hanging off the side of the car. John Philippi in the Seat defending from the Audi. France versus Belgium. Gilles Magnus, the RACB Academy winner for a TCR Benelux prize drive this year, crawling all over the back of the French car. And then the Czech Republic's Dawson Courier is getting closer as well behind. So 3rd and 4th might be caught by 5th Czech Republic very shortly.
Magnus really trying everything he can. Goes one way, goes the other way. This is the contact that occurred coming into turn 14. 2 wheels up. Then the contact, the right rear. I suspect the toe link has been certainly, if not broken, has been damaged. There's the feeling that we saw up in the air, and that wasn't in the script, was it, Tom? And he's fortunately, as a consequence of that contact, and whether that would be adjudged to be a fair pass or, I don't know, it's difficult. Some of the stewards may want to have a little look at later to see if there's a penalty that may be applied to Gilles Magnussen. But anyway, back to this charge for 3rd place. The Audi running as far as he can up to the rear of the Hyundai down into turn 4.
He's trying to unsettle John Philippi, isn't he, there, flashing the light. That incident has not yet come up to be under investigation, interestingly, but Gilles Magnus for Belgium all over the back of France. So John Philippi hangs on the 3rd place. Nose to tail, they run up towards us, and they're being caught now, look, by Czech Republic's Dawson Courier. Philippi on the inside, covers off any move at turn 7 then as they come into Campagnano. Gilles Magnus for Belgium is right there behind him. Then it is Courier, the Czech Republic, 5th, 6th is New Zealand's Fade Cartier, doing a really good job.
There's the undercut looking down the inside. Magnus launches it down the inside. Just about gets the car stopped in time to be able to make the turn. But the undercut again comes from Philippi, who just read the situation, allowed that space to develop, and once again maintains his 3rd place. But now Magnus, is he going to go the long, long way around turn 11, down the hill into the hairpin bend? Again, been so competitive, almost one might say combative, in the manner he's conducted this race on the gearbox, or on the bumper anyway.
So Gilles Magnus then all over the back of John Philippi, absolutely together, 3rd and 4th. Here they come. Up then towards the final right handle of Roma. So Gilles Magnus tries to prise open the door somehow. Wide into 14, needs to get a tight line out, try and slingshot up the inside, but he can't do it.
Nobody wants to do it, not here, but he'll try and do it down into turn 4 because the defence from Felipe compromised slightly his exit out of turn 14. Now you can see what's happened. That's given the momentum to the Audi, who sweeps past the Hyundai in turn 3, and that all started because of the positions, of the relative positions of those two cars. So finally Magnus has made it into 3rd place, a clean overtake, and he carried through with a substantial amount of momentum.
And also on track is Luca Enschler. He has just joined in by way really of a test session for tomorrow? Well, depending on who scores what in tomorrow's race, if he were to do a really good job from his rear-of-grid qualifying effort, you never know, he might be able to get a medal, even if it's not the gold for Germany, but he's on track testing this new engine as Gilles Magnus now, with only 5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. He's trying to hustle away from John Philippi, so he's up into the top 3, but that is the race leader, and Klim Gavrilov, in his first year of car racing, leads the pack then down through turn 10. The margin last time, 3.5 seconds.
For his first year, you have to think he's going to have quite a long career ahead of him. Done a very good job. Got the benefit off the start. Had pressure on the opening laps. Managed to get through those. Now pulled clear from Hummel. And that gap was 3.5 seconds when they came across the line at the end of lap 10. And whether it's extended or not, it's a comfortable lead. Significantly comfortable lead. In fact, it was probably more than the 3.5 seconds as we see the Hyundai exit out of turn 4.
Over the timing line then, Russia leads 4 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock, and a flying lap is just under 42.5 at the moment, 1 minute 42.2 on that last lap. Hummel second, so the gap is up to 4 seconds. Third, Belgium. Fourth, France. Fifth, Czech Republic. Sixth, New Zealand. Seventh, Sweden. Still eighth in the points. Netherlands, Tom Coronel. Ninth. Over the line now is Italy. A change because Italy has gone ahead of Hong Kong. Jim Kato drops back in his Honda behind the charging Enrico Bectora. But Coronel's last lap was a 43.5. All right, he's a second off the leader's pace, second and a bit, but he's still doing an outstanding job given the damage.
And he's, what, 1.5 seconds behind Backman in the Sweden entry for that 7th place, having lost it to her. But nonetheless, consolidation, bring the car back, get a few points. Tomorrow's another day, and the weather, again, we're anticipating being somewhat mixed at best and probably heavy rain at worst.
This is for 6th, New Zealand versus Sweden. If these two get themselves together, Tom Coronel might even gain more ground back. You never know, because right now Jessica Backman is all over the back of Fane Kahia as they go down towards turn 8. Into the left. Jessica Backman struggled, it seemed, at the start of qualifying to get a time in, but she's an experienced TCR racer, and he's racing well here.
Doing a silent job. Hard on the brakes, Hardy drags that right rear. We've seen Hardy's doing that. Even the race leader's been dragging that right rear into turn 10. All you need to do is just get yourself positioned. If you aren't alongside, don't even dream of a pass, whether it's on the outside or the inside. Contact is usually the outcome. And swing to the turn 12, then 13. You're here having to hold the throttle, just delay getting full power on again. Then the run up into turn 14. It's usually a late apex. As you see the Audi coming in, that is the race line. That's the quickest way through turn 14.
Over the timing line then goes New Zealand, Sweden on the tail. What have we got left in the race? Just under 2.5 minutes plus a lap at the end, so it's going to be 2 more racing laps plus the regulation lap. Coronel is still in 8th place, 1.3 seconds back.
But he was 1.5, so he has taken about 2/10 out. So it's not all over for Tom Coronel, but probably very difficult with 2 minutes and a lap remaining.
But if these two start tripping over themselves, look, all of a sudden Backman is right on the back of Kahia. He's going to have to defend. That will make him go slower. He will hold up Sweden in order to preserve the place. And Coronel, with nothing to lose, can just charge along behind and try to close this gap as they head up towards turn 7 now.
Yeah, and New Zealand having to go defensive all the way down the straight into turn 6. So that should give Backman the opportunity to get a better exit because she's got a car, she can choose her line, but not able to really make it work. Goes down the outside, looks to think about not the pass here, but the undercut. And that's how she regained position earlier in the race through turn 9.
So there's New Zealand versus Sweden then. Audi just ahead. Brake hard, turn into the right-hander of turn 10. Jessica Backman in her Hyundai crawling all over the back. Look how close Coronel is. He's almost with him. He's, what, 3-4 lengths back. There he is, the nose just peeking into the shot. 1 racing lap plus the regulation lap still to go in this race. There is permanently sideways Coronel. Drifting is meant to be later in the day. Coronel's an early entry for the Netherlands. Here he comes up over the curb.
I'm amazed because there was clear damage. The car was clearly crabbing. We saw it after that contact coming down straight. But somehow he's managed to consolidate, keep the car running. Whatever the damage is, he's driven his way around it, done an outstanding job. But the battle that's going on right now for that 6th position still could see the beneficiary being this driver, Tom Coronel, in 8th place.
His best lap was, of course, done early on when the damage didn't occur, but right now he is getting closer and closer and closer to the back of the Hyundai of Jessica Bachmann. Then we've got one more lap to go at the end of this. There, look, is Luca Engschler, new engine in the car. He can't do anything as far as the race is concerned because he is 9 laps down, and we've also lost Rory Butcher into the pit lane. So the British entrant, I'm afraid, is in the pits with a problem. Maybe it was more than just a sluggish start. Maybe there was something, there was a big gremlin that was causing that car problems even from the get-go. Right, the clock hits 0, so it's one more lap, the regulation lap at the very end of this for a very impressive Russian driver, Klim Gavrilov.
4.9 seconds advantage at the end of lap 13 on the 14th lap. So he's just basically driven away from the rest of the field. He's had clear air pretty much all race to do so, but it's still an impressive drive from a very young but very talented competitor.
So the regulation lap will kick in at the end of this as he runs it wide up the curb coming out of turn 13. The pit straight welcomes him. There in second place is Mato Homola, and pretending to be third, Luca Engschler, but they really did run out of time with that engine change. Sad to say, he was very late into the race, but late in he did get. Through goes Gavrilov. This is the last lap of the race, and remember, it's the top 10 that score today. Coronel was only 8/10 back from Jessica Bachmann last time around. Confirmation that we're on the final lap. It'll be interesting to see what kind of a lap time Luca Engschler can do before the very end here, as here is the battle. Look, Coronel almost with them despite that damage.
Well, but that's a look at the time you're scoring under a second, 7/10 of a second. It's not so much the pace of Coronel, it's been the lack of pace between the cars in 6th and 7th position that's allowed Coronel to catch up. So down the hill, and well, Beckman, think about it, well, she's given it some thought, but again, being cautious. There's more to lose possibly now in this final lap than to be gained. Up the hill, got the drive off, turn 5, through the curve of 6, the run down into 7, and having to go very defensive. New Zealand yet again. Beckman can't quite get far enough up alongside the Audi to gain any advantage as she comes off as we look at the race leader.
So into turn 10 for the last time. Russia heading for victory. Russian to the checkered flag is Klim Gavrilov, who is going to score race honours and maximum points in race 1 in the Touring Car Cup at this very first FIA Motorsport Games. The way the Touring Car Cup works, it's points scored across these 2 races, a different points tally, different race lengths, but Russia heading towards honours from the Slovakian and Belgian entries 2nd and 3rd, but a really impressive drive by Klim Gavrilov. Then he started on pole, he has dominated the race. Checkered flag at the ready, and it is going to be a race win for Russia in the first Touring Car Cup race of the weekend. Across the line he goes. 2nd will go the way of Slovakia's Mato Homola, and that is Luca Engschler, many laps down, coming through behind. He won't score points, but Gilles Magnus for Belgium will be 3rd, and then the rest come pouring through. 4th, it's going to be France, Czech Republic 5th, 6th, New Zealand, 7th, Sweden, and 8th. You could argue the hero of the race, really, Tom Coronel. 8th place, points despite that damage.
He's got to get a prize. I don't know what it is, but he's got to get a prize for the damage that he's got to the rear of his car to manage to drive through that problem for the 20 minutes or so of the race that he had to do so is, I think, a pretty outstanding effort.
Well, there is Klim Gavrilov, who drove exceptionally well. When we were looking at him, ne'er a wheel wrong. I mean, that was just a mighty impressive performance to come through to score race honours by very nearly 6 seconds. And a win for Russia. Russia also has a very competitive entry in the GT Cup. And it struggled a little bit in F4, but you never know. In the overall medal ranking, Russia could be a nation to keep an eye on.
Well, certainly done a strong job here in this Touring Car Cup round, and emphatic victory, just able to drive away from the rest of the field. And he didn't need to have that sort of, what was just under 6 seconds gap when they came across the line. Nevertheless, when you're in that rhythm, you can slow down by doing certain things, lift off and coast into a corner so you don't put load into the tires unnecessarily or into the brakes, and you still can pretty much return the same kind of lap time as if you were pushing all the way to the end.
Well, I think the fans have enjoyed a lively touring car race. Tom Coronel, I was going to say, will have a lot to say for himself. That suggests he doesn't normally, but Tom, having copped that whack from Gilles Magnus, it was one of those things. The race director content to let it battle on, but it's good to see close racing. And another of the nice things about the Touring Car Cup this weekend is that you're looking at cars with natural pace. There's no option tyre, there's no success ballast. You're seeing quick cars, quick drivers running unfettered. So down the pit lane they will come. Russia, Slovakia, Belgium, the top three. Klim Gavrilov from Mato Homola and Gilles Magnus. These are the results of Touring Car Cup Race 1 from Vallelunga in the FIA Motorsport Games for 2019. Russia wins from Slovakia and Belgium. France bags 4th ahead of the Czech Republic and New Zealand. Sweden 7th, Netherlands 8th, amazingly, Italy 9th, and Hong Kong started 19th on the grid and finishes 10th. Out of the points, the USA, Lithuania, Hungary, China, Latvia in 15th place. We lost Great Britain to the pit lane, Rory Butcher into the race, but perhaps not classified if he doesn't do 75%. Luca Engschler. We also lost Norway and Kuwait early on and never into the race. Sadly, Spain, the problems for the Peugeot of Gonzalo Danwes, putting him out of the race. So, touring car racing, no matter what the regulation, no matter what the championship, no matter what the tournament, always delivers action. But Klim Gavrilov drove exceptionally.
I think that's one of the outstanding drives. We've seen a couple of good drives in different categories through today so far, both in practice or qualifying, but now in races. And I'm sure there'll be a number of people in the touring car world will be looking at that performance and saying, maybe that's somebody we would like to have with our team.
Let's have another look at the highlights of that race. Rory Butcher's problems really began as soon as the lights went out, because he struggled away from the line as the cars accelerated down towards turn 1. He fell down the order, and so as he went through turn 1, sadly his race was evaporated. That great start by Gavrilov then put him in the lead of the race. Early dramas also for Lithuania. Off the road went Adamovicius. He bounced back onto the circuit and was 12th out of the points at the end. Tom Coronel had been mugged early by France. Then Belgium got in on the act. The Netherlands car on the inside, Belgium on the outside. They ran together pretty much for a whole lap. But then the safety car deployed because Norway's Alfa Romeo off the road, and that's the entry of Christian Seiveren out of the race. Restart, Gavrilov on his toes to try and get away from Mato Homola once more. Jessica Backman also looking to try to gain ground through on the inside line at turn 1, and this was the deciding moment as far as the Netherlands and Belgium were concerned. They rubbed coming out of turn 11, but it all kicked off at 14 because it was there that Gilles Magnus was able to switch sides. Great racing between the two of them, the Honda keeping the Audi at bay, but Magnus dived up the inside at 14. He was almost fully alongside, contact made, even though that damaged the suspension. And there's the whack in replay right there for Tom Coronel. He was able to soldier on and take 8th place as New Zealand fended off Sweden. Fein Kahia keeping Jessica Backman at bay as they ran nose to tail, with Coronel catching back up towards the end of the race. Great stuff as Klim Gavrilov accelerated towards a checkered flag and a race win in the first Touring Car Cup event of the weekend. It's a busy paddock here at Vallelunga. These FIA Motorsport Games bringing fans, teams, drivers from all over the globe. And the touring car action, as you would anticipate, has been frantic. The circuit will turn its attention next to GT racing and the first of the 3 one-hour races. And so from the Touring Car Cup Race 1, Russia finds itself in the lead on points with this 5-point advantage as we get into race 2 tomorrow. Well done, Russia. Well done, Klim Gavrilov. Winner here at Vallelunga.
You join us at the Karting Slalom as we just get waiting for the next round to get underway with 16 nations taking part. But before that, we had a very special guest here, the president of the FIA, Mr. Jean Todt, and I got the opportunity to catch up with him. Well, the president of the FIA, Jean Todt, has joined us here at the Motorsport Games, and what an event this is with so many different disciplines.
I'm very impressed because, you know, I'm not so used to all those new technology, electric, technologies, video, and I mean, it's fascinating because it's really the possibility of replicating proper motorsport through this kind of games, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, so this is the Digital Cup, but we have 5 other classes. We've got GT, touring car, so it's a great amalgamation of all different skills and talents.
But it allows us to have any kind of category of motorsport.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, and it allows to give access to highest level of motorsport to anybody and to get champions.
And to have the FIA involved in having so many nations coming together and competing, it's great, isn't it?
That's great. I understand that we have about 50 nations which are represented in Rome, Vallelunga, and I mean, we know that in Italy there is a culture, the passion for motorsport, so I think all the ingredients have been put together to have, in a short time, a very successful event.
Not only that, we've got the girls on track, we have road safety, all here.
Yeah, I mean, every aspect. I mean, girls, we don't have enough, so we need to increase participation. I mean, equity in gender, it's what we want to achieve, even if we know that motorsport is attracting more men than female, but I think process is moving slowly but surely, and as you said, very important also to speak about environment, to speak about road safety, because motorsport must be an ambassador for environment and for safety in motor racing, but also on the road.
That's certainly represented here this weekend.
Sorry?
It's certainly represented here this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, all of that is there in Rome, in Vallelunga.
Is there, can I put you on the spot and say, is there one particular category you're looking forward to seeing more than others? Maybe drifting?
I mean, every category, you know, I'm always fascinated by the interest of each category, and the good thing is that, I mean, most of them, as you said, are represented here. So, you know, it's just like a boy in a toy shop, and go from one category to another one.
We're only halfway through, not even halfway through this Motorsport Games, but where do you see this event going? What are the possibilities? More nations, more categories?
I mean, of course, always, you know, to do better. This Motorsport game, the first time we do it at this level, and we can see that there is a big potential, so I must congratulate all who have been participating to do that, and encourage them to do better for the coming years.
Thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the games.
Thank you. Likewise.
Now, this is a national, there's lots of nations here, so is there anything you'd like to say in French about the Motorsport Games?
Je suis ravi d'être aujourd'hui à Rome, à Vallelunga, pour le lancement de ces Jeux, avec une représentation de 50 nations, avec beaucoup de catégories de sport automobile, dont le... How we call that? Donc, je suis absolument ravi de pouvoir assister à autant d'épreuves virtuelles et réelles. Et c'est absolument encourageant de voir qu'avec relativement un peu de temps de préparation, nous sommes réussis à avoir une cinquantaine de pays représentés. Donc bravo à tous ceux qui ont permis cette organisation, et puis tous mes encouragements pour ce qui va se faire dans les prochaines années.
Merci.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. We are back at the Karting Slalom, and now we have our 16 nations that have made it through to the next round. Georgia were the fastest in that qualifying session. In 14th, it was Lithuania, and I'm with Caius, one of the drivers for Lithuania. So you got through. You're up against Belgium now.
Yeah.
How do you think you're going to fare against them?
Yeah, I think we will try to do our best. This weekend is not so good how we expected, but we will try to do our best.
They qualified third, so they were obviously quite quick out there.
Yeah, we were quick too, but we just hit too. We got 10 seconds penalty for hitting those, how we called? Cones, and yeah.
Okay, so you've got to tidy up your driving then.
Yeah, I will try.
Tell us about how you've got here. What's your karting experience so far?
Yeah, so this year I'm Academy Trophy champion, and I finished third in the World Championship, and I got some podiums in European Championship FIA, and yeah.
With all those titles, you should be going faster. You shouldn't be 14.
Yeah, but it's different. It's completely different. It's like rental kart. It's much wider and how heavier.
Okay.
And yeah.
So you've got a lot to deal with the changes here, and are you used to slalom as well?
Yeah, but I don't know how to explain. Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. Well, we spoke to Michelle Mouton earlier. Let's see what she had to say. I now have the pleasure of being joined by Michelle Mouton, who's head of Women in Motorsport for the FIA. Michelle, this is a great event so far, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great event for us, for girls on track, and also for the karting challenge. To see so many young girls fighting is really fantastic. I think we have 29 nations and 16.9% of women. So it's really, for us, it's really great. Really great. I'm pleased to see that.
You mentioned the girls on track, and we've got everything, all the activities behind us. Can you just tell us about that program?
Yeah, the program is just, to try to attract the young girls, very young age, when they don't know even what is motorsport, and to make them discover the different activities around motorsport, training. It's a lot of different activities, and they have the day for them, and they can even try the competition side for a joke and for fun. So it's really great.
I think we're going to have a go at this soon, aren't we? Because get some people coming around.
Yes, exactly.
So you've obviously competed against men in your career. What do you think it means for the girls at this age to be on this level playing field?
Yeah, I think you just have to understand and to discover, what is speed, what is the rules, and then to fight. And being a girl or a boy, it's no difference at all to drive a kart or a car. So it's just to try to like it, and once you like that, the motivation to go and to fight for the top.
We were at the Girls on Track conference quite recently, and what I found quite interesting is it's getting them early as well, not just the children at that age, but also teaching the parents as well that girls can do this.
Yes, all girls can do that, and they can come anytime, and we try to welcome and to find the good activities for them to discover and to enjoy, because finally at the end it's to have fun, really.
Yeah. And what ages are you now going to be targeting?
Now we want to we have the step with Girls on Track where you have the young girls, but then we have also the one who are already in competition at the high level, but it's a middle field who is missing, and now we are working on maybe some new program for next year on the girls from 13 to 15 to try to help them progressing, to train them, and to give them the possibility to go the step up to the pyramid.
I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the timing, but how have the girls been faring so far?
I don't know, because I just arrived, and sorry, I don't know. But I know that some of them are quite good. Right? Yes.
Okay, so we'll catch up again with you later, and hopefully we can speak to some more of those girls.
Exactly, with pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. Q8 are one of our other nations to make it through to the next 16. So can you tell me your names? Who am I with?
Hassal Faris.
And Marshad.
So you must be pleased to make it through to the next stage. How was the first one for you?
Quite difficult because they changed the courses. They switched their courses. He took mine and I took his. So it's quite difficult. But we came through.
Who are you up against for this next stage?
I think Russia.
Russia, okay. And how are they? How are they?
Based on like their performance, they're actually like very challenging, and it's like not only going to be a challenge for them, but for us too. So like we'll try our best and hope for the best.
Now, you've said that Kuwait are competing in all 6 of the categories. That's great news for the team.
We actually have me, first time, first woman to be here in the team. So we're hoping that we go through it. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so too. How does the rest of the team, you must all spend some time together, how do they see the motorsport games going and what do they think about it?
Yeah, they're like very happy since like Kuwait is like very minimal with like racing and stuff. We tried our best to like have a full team, and that's like our goal in this competition. Even if we don't win, we're happy that we have a full team,
and your presence is here.
Yeah, that's our like main goal.
It's the first GCC country ever to be in FIA sports, the only GCC country.
That's amazing.
So we're really proud of it, and we really hope to be in the places that we're supposed to be in. So
for you, as a girl in Kuwait, karting, how easy is that?
It's difficult at first, but by time and practice, we're doing good.
But are there many girls out there? Is it easy for you to go and try out karting?
Of course it is. We have many places and many girls. I hope they really get influenced by this, because it's something to be very proud of.
Okay, so what are you hoping for your karting slalom experience?
First.
Obviously, first, yeah.
We hope to go to the finals. That's what we're hoping for.
Okay, one last thing. Tell me about the course. How difficult was it for you?
First of all, I started with course 2 and then switched to course 1, and like it's like fairly easy and also challenging because like the karts, they're like it's not I'm like not used to what I was driving in Kuwait, because like they're both different karts, and like I have tried slalom in Kuwait. It's much different than this, and like it's a challenge, and it's basically like the same track, but like they're symmetrical. You know what I mean? So like if we turn left here, we turn right the other side. So like we have to just memorize that and keep in mind.
So it's mentally, there's quite a lot to deal with.
Yeah, it's a mentally challenged thing. Yeah.
Okay, well we're going to carry on watching some of the karting now, and we look forward to seeing you out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Session. They were fastest this morning, so everybody's looking to beat them. It looks like they've changed the circuit as well, so it's a new layout from this morning, so they're going to have to deal with that as well. Georgia are up against Austria, who I believe qualified 16th. Not looking happy with that time or his performance there, so I might try and see if I can grab a word with him to see what he's thinking about that. Georgia, I'm with the coach now. You're not looking happy with what happened there.
Yeah, first of all, we're late due to the passes here. You know, and I don't know what's happening. You know, we miss everything now on this stage, but we will do our best to keep on and do everything to win the race.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to hear that, guys. On the other side was Austria and Charlie Wirtz, who we also spoke to earlier today, and they are celebrating. They've obviously put in some good times. Charlie, you're just taking your helmet off, but celebrations for Austria.
Yeah, it was a great session. I finally learned how to improve because I lost a lot of time in one corner, about like 5 seconds or something, and I finally found out how to do it. So thanks to my whole team and also my teammate for teaching me how to do it.
Of course, this is Alex's first son. We don't want to just say that because you're karting in your own right as well. But obviously, your dad's skills are coming through to you.
Yeah, he's not always here because he's always at the F1 races or something. But when he's here, he always teaches me what to do, and I learned a lot from him.
Great stuff. Well, we will look forward to seeing you when you go back out later. Thank you very much, Charlie. And we'll see you all later for more karting slalom.